Greetings and salutations to the bloodlines. Greetings and salutations. Uh, this is Salima Ellis. We're back on today as I wanted to be, definitely, because I hadn't been consistent with these readings. We're going to go into plank units, and we'll also be discussing the harms of using politically correct language. It's harmful to indigenous peoples. Let me get ready to get started though, so we can get down to the nitty gritty. Pull up all this. You know what? I don't know. My camera keep going out, and I want to do a live. What's gonna happen though? We're gonna go back to black body radiation. Hey family, so this is Salima Ellis. Greetings and salutations to the bloodline. I'm here as Universal Mind School of Evolution, my home school. I was as I was walking here to, get set up and everything for the live, I was talking with my daughter about how the progress is slow among our people because we have yet to decide as a whole, as source, what is going to be education. The people who are not educated equally, they can't move forward. They have to have some kind of educational cohesion. And we, as the indigenous beings, aka the blacks, African Americans, we have yet to decide what is a real education, who's going to provide that education. And also, um, how do we stop letting false education come into our communities, especially since most of us understand that these universities, they're closing. They know they were only, all universities are foreign agent learning facilities, and everybody that's usually in those universities are foreign agents. They're foreign to this land. They're immigrants, or they'll probably say they grandfather came here from such and such. So those universities are here to train foreign agents on how to run us. You see? So this is why I continue to do these lives about who we really are, because they're never going to tell you that is not there. It has never been your enemy's job to tell you who you are, what's going to benefit you, when your ignorance benefits them. So we're still in this field of Almalek people finding out. Would you open up mine for me? Um, what is, and learning about and once you begin to learn about yourselves, you're going to understand what I'm talking about when I said we as a people haven't decided what is real education, because right now the only thing that's considered real education is anything that's getting you the bag, getting you the money per se. So yeah, I'm not going to, like I said before, I'm here to provide you with the knowledge that will help you in the reality. That's all I can do. Now, I do want to go into politically correct language for a second. There's no such thing as a police officer. They're enslavers. And when they come in contact with you, call them as such. Don't say slave catchers. That intones that you are already a slave and they're recatching their property. Don't say that. Say exactly what they are. They are enslavers, somebody who is there to enslave a free being. And they're there to take you to their what? Auction house. Because all courts are legally and financially broke under Chapter 11. Stop using this Don't, ladies, they setting y'all up with the word femicide. Don't do it. Let me tell you why. You, as a Homo sapien, are not the same as a human. Humans are females, femicide. So they've just constructed the AI robot, humanoid. If they make the robot under character traits and that robot is harmed, they're going to say you committed femicide, which means you're going to go to jail for hurting an inanimate object. Y'all better pay attention. Y'all run around in these political circles. Y'all can't wait to use this political language that these people throw out to you. Let me tell you something. If I control the language, I control the people. If the people do not use the language, they cannot control you, because therefore you will not be under their jurisdiction as far as the language is concerned. That's more legalese you do not need. Y'all barely understand the legalese used against you now. So please know, stop using politically correct. All this dirt talk. It's murder. It's the murder of indigenous women. It's the murder of women, not femicide. I'm not no femme. I'm a woman. I had a baby. And if YouTube is going to start censoring you and our people for using the words that are in the dictionary, because best believe femicide is for them, not us. And I refuse to use that language. It's politically correct language that's used to corner you, to put you in a corner. So stop playing games with these people with this language. I think I'm looking for my notes. There ain't no such thing as femicide, because then they'll be saying a robot is equal to you, and it could never be. They're already talking about a human is equal to you. That's why y'all should watch that video. Trying to get equality with humans is a false reality. I don't want the equality of humans. Look how they act. I want them gone. So I wanted to talk about the Titans real quick before I start too. I love that movie, Godzilla, King of the Titans. But it's a false reality. One of the most important parts of that movie she was talking about is that nature returns after the Titans have come through and destroyed everything that man has created. See, that's why man was scared of the Titans. The Titans come through and destroy everything humans have created. So the mother was right. That man is the disease on the realm. The humans are. And when the Titans come through, it destroys the disease. It rips out everything the disease puts down, which is the organic. Okay? So China was just hit with a typhoon. So your true Titans are tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, typhoons, tsunamis, because after they cause the destruction, what are they really destroying? Nothing but what these humans have created. Every house on this realm. See, we be talking about the churches as the synagogues of Satan's and the Jehovah Witnesses halls, the mosque, and all these other things. But every house on here is a tribute to Satan and his power. So when these tornadoes come through and rip this shit up, it's telling you you ain't that bad. Satan ain't that bad. Mm. Watch Godzilla King of the Monsters again and see what she really saying. When the real titans come through, nature, the great mother, has a chance to restore herself. That's why they get to work quick. The humans will start repatching, putting back their 3D stuff, because the Titan just came through and ripped it all up. So when Titans come through, which are tornadoes, tsunamis, typhoons, earthquakes, volcano eruptions, okay, they restore nature, they restore the organ, because everything they rip up is organic. All the houses, organic. Cars are organic. All these crops that you put down are organic. Pay attention, my people. Yeah. So when Titans come through, the natural realm is restored. So you have to wonder what's really being said in these movies, and how do you relate it to what you really see? Because if you have the mind of a child, you're always going to be waiting for some monster to pop out, and you won't really see the true message. The true Titans, as the mother said in the movie Godzilla, after they come and rip up everything we have done, after everything man has made, nature is restored. You are organ. You are 0 degrees. You are causality. The Titans come through. They have been fighting these beasts for centuries, and the only problem is you put the beast back in place after the Titan then ripped his ass a new one and told him he got to go. This is why I do the readings for Black Body Energy. This is why I do the Planck unit, so you can understand your relationship to this realm and understand who you are as self. That the only reason why the beast is still here is because y'all keep helping him be here. So yeah, those are just a couple of things that were on my mind, because I realized we don't have a real understanding, because me and my family, we're real movie. My mother got us started real early with the movie watching and how to read the message in the movie. So as I said before, this is Universal Mind School of Evolution, where every thought is going to evolve your mind. How much you got left? Yeah, every thought and every word is going to evolve you mentally, physically, and emotionally, soulfully. This is what our school is about. I do not teach any children without the parents learning to, because the parents they'll dumb the child right back down. So that's what I learned as a homeschool teacher, that I cannot just teach children because the parents usually can't keep up. and then they can't help with the homework that I give out because they have no clue. So as I said before, if you read the description, you should have your Bible with you and your dictionary so that we can go right back into black body radiation. There were a few words I couldn't pronounce last time. You know how it is, you be reading so much, getting so much knowledge. So what I was saying was that the houses are going to be carcinogenic, considered carcinogenic and unlivable. They're going to be deemed, you got to get out of here. hmm But actually, most of this realm is already carcinogenic. Okay, and let me get my information up. But I put some of it in the description box below. So in the last slide, we were talking about um, temps, kelvins. Make sure y'all can see that. Here we go. Okay, so when we talk about black body radiation, we're talking about the ability to see items. One of the aspects, because there are many aspects of black body radiation. We're talking about the ability to see items at a certain, or celestial bodies, not item. I'm not an item. People have the ability to see me at a certain temperature. Now, I talked about the United States uh, system of measurement, which is at temperatures. So the United States uses Fahrenheit. I don't know if I'm doing that right. Europe uses Celsius, and they use the international. What was that I said last time? Europe uses the international. What was their measurements called? Y'all got to excuse me, my mind be international system of units. Okay. So the US uses Fahrenheit, Europe uses Celsius, and the international system of units. Now, when we're discussing Planck units and black body, radiation, we're talking about Kelvin. Okay. So, but this is what I want you to be aware of as a people. Physics is theoretical math that was created by those who want to give an interpretation of this realm. Okay? So when we're talking about theoretical math, you have to also understand that they're going to create the tools to back up their theories, not to back up reality. Theory and reality are two different things. So let's pull out our dictionaries, and that's why I said these are study sessions. This ain't me entertaining you, so be prepared. Let's pull up theory, and then let's pull up reality so that you can understand when I say some of these instruments that they use to measure our people or to define our people are just that. They were created so that they could use them to define. So if you're going to define me in a biased and racist way, you're going to come up with a theoretical math to support it, to support your theory. And if you have the wealth, you're going to come up with the physical instruments to support your theories. So yeah, this ain't just me reading the Planck units and things today. This is me giving you something to really think about when we're doing this. Because I don't want to just be going in, reading to you, and you don't understand the bigger picture of thinking about what's being handed to you as information, what's being handed to you as intel for intellectual purposes. Okay? So, all of this is math. Okay? And math is theoretical physics. Anybody interested? Also, I'm up at the Parkland Branch Library today. I'll be doing another reading in another 2 weeks because, like I said, this knowledge is important. You have to have this. So, this is my theories based on what I see of your realm. I can't do exactly what you do in your realm, but this is how I see it. So now I'm going to make up a math. I'm going to create the instruments. Let me do that again. I'm going to create the instruments that back up the theoretical math that I say is the reality. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. Theoretical math is theoretical physics. And physics is based on what they say, their interpretation of what our physical realm is. But our realm is more than physical. It is mindful. It is soulful. So they can't put that in math. You can't put the soul in math. You cannot put the mind in math. So you have to come up with all these theoretical, okay, formulations of what you think it is. Now, physically, you could take me apart and dissect me and look at my body, but without the soul and the mind working together, baby, the body. So that's why I say we are all synchronous beings. So, what are the tools that they have created on this realm to back up their theoretical math? They created a ruler. Joy, what are those things that take a temperature?
Thermometer.
They created thermometers. Okay. They created numbers to go with the rulers. So they had to have these numbers because one of the things people say, yes, I'm a teacher. I'm not going to dim myself down and say that for anybody, but I'm also a master student. So in my studies of the language, which is why I'm not big on skipping our people, we already speak one language. Let's become the purveyors of the language. Let's be the best. Let's be the people that understand the language that we already speak. And instead of doing that, we let other people come in and they say, "Oh, we need to speak Spanish. We need to speak this African language. We need to speak this." But then we having all these problems amongst our people because we won't perfect the language we already speak, so we can have a better cohesive community. So those who create theoretical physics, which is what math is, you had to create the instruments. Numbers come from Latin. If you study, because the first numbers were Roman numeral numbers, okay? Remember we did the Bible study where Moses was putting them together, and then we went into our dictionary, and it said the first census was taken during the time of Rome. But they'll have you believe it happened way back in the no. So numbers come from Latin letters. That's why they're called Roman numerals. If you go back and you look at the Latin that we went over, I had a good great where it shows you the Latin. 5, that's Latin. That's a Latin letter. Okay? So we have to be aware that if you study as much as I do, you would understand what I would be talking about. That's why I say, don't get up here acting crazy. Let's go in on the study because I've been doing this for decades now. So they created a thermometer. They created rulers. What other things did they create? They created a medical science. Now, why did they create a medical science under theoretical physics? Because physically, they cannot do what we do physically. So their theoretical physics, which is math, they had to mathematically figure out how to do what we do medically, what we do every day, which is have the children. And you remember I was saying that the children of Eve, the line of Eve, her line is infertile. Sarah, all these great women of the Bible, they had adopted children. They had children that were in vitro fertilization. They were not fertile beings by nature. So that's the thing. When the Titans have come through, Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan. Ooh, I love that Rodan in the last Godzilla. That was so sweet. So it's like when the Titans come through, they do cause great destruction, but it's amongst the 3D realm. Those who are not supposed to be here with their theoretical physics hanging on and butchering the natural the natural realm, the organ, plank, and black body radiation realm. See, this is all theoretical. Okay, they're going to create a temperature to control you. And they're going to create a what? Educational system. And their educational not only dumbs you down mentally, it dumbs you down physically. Because if your mind isn't working at optimal, can your body work at its optimal? No, it cannot. And it tries because we're still here, but think of all the things that our society, we as Black people, go through as indigenous beings. Cancer, hair loss, um, fibroid tumors. We're going through a lot right now. And a lot of that is because, first, we live in a lifestyle that has been handed to us, and you should not be living a lifestyle. You should be living a life's paths where you're forging your own path. And it's hard for you to forge your own path because you've already been given this medical science, temperature, education. Okay. So, yeah, the Titans are here. They've been here, they've been fighting for the longest. The thing is, the humans and us helping them, believing that we're supposed to be in these structures with them, we are fucking up. We're fucking up. So let's keep going. Those are just some of the things I wanted to bring into awareness. Now, the last time we were on black body radiation, we were going over the spectrum, which made me go over what I just went over. So I'm going to go back to it. Okay. So on your screen, they're going to show a spectrum for Celsius and a spectrum for Fahrenheit, but they didn't show the spectrum for Kelvin. Now, I've been trying to learn how to read the Kelvin scale, the thermometer. Okay. And Kelvins are always higher than what the humans' temperature is. So whatever there is, so they say at 550 Celsius, they can see us at, and that's in Europe. That's the European International System of Units. And Fahrenheit here in America, they can see us at 120, 1022 degrees. So my thing is that there is no such thing as this brown. It's red. So that's why I said the temps are higher. Okay, let's get into it. We also discussed that your body had to be a certain temperature to also offset the make sure that your body can have a pus. Make sure that your body can have a pus run. It can empty out its body, and we wanted to be able to do that. So then they're going to say the black body, the concept of a black body is an idealization, as perfect black bodies do not exist in nature. Whose nature are they talking about? So I am in Black Body, the main article. I'm reading right up under. Wait, should I be that far? Oh, this is where I should be starting out. Black Body, main article. All normal baryonic matter emits electromagnetic radiation when it has a temperature above absolute zero. The radiation represents a conversion of a body's internal energy into electromagnetic energy and is therefore called thermal radiation. It is a spontaneous process of radiative distribution of entropy. Entropy is a scientific concept that is most commonly associated with a state of disorder, randomness, or uncertainty. The term and the concept are used in diverse fields. So, absolute zero. Absolute zero is the lowest limit of the thermodynamic temperature scale, the state at which the enthalpy and entropy of a cooled ideal gas reach their minimum value. The fundamental particles of nature have minimum vibrational motion, retaining only quantum mechanical. Let's go into it. Absolute zero is the lowest limit of the thermodynamic temperature scale. Now, what is the thermodynamic temperature scale? It is the scale at which humans use to read our reality. Okay? So, and this is what I was saying to the Amalek and those who are of. So, we're going to go back up here for a second. The thermodynamic scale. How do I explain that? We're going to go over here to education because this is the educational part. Um, they use thermometers to measure our thermodynamic scale. I told you they say that we're running at right, but I said that was possible when we have no stratosphere with water up there. We would all look like cooked chickens, right? Because we have C flares, M flares coming through right now, X flares. Okay, let me go back to this part real quick because I want to stay on. The way they talk to us, ideal gas. We've got to be strong enough to see through that. A lot of their experimentation is through a vacuum. We are not in a vacuum state. So therefore, we have the ability to produce electricity. But that is not who we are. Having the ability to produce electricity is not the end all and be all of what our bodies can do. That is how they see us in their theoretical physics, because that is what they can see of us. Okay? So whenever they see lightning bolts, it's electricity. Whenever they see light comes on, it's electricity. It's an elect. Look up the word elect. Okay? Electrical. But that's just one of the powers that we have, because we have energy. And our energy can go from cold to hot. But the thing is, we don't like cold. Cold isn't natural for us. So what it is that we don't go from cold to hot. What we go is into 0 degrees. If you go into 0 degrees causality, you will never feel cold. Superman never felt cold. He had the fortress, whatever, in the deepest, coldest parts of the realm, because his body was in perfect equilibrium. He had an education beyond human interpretation. See, Clark Kent went to school, but Superman had the fortress, where his education from his home. So imagine you have an alien among you reaping the benefits of an education where you never feel too hot, you never feel cold, and you never can die. Because you have an education beyond your enemies. And that is the problem with our people. We do not yet have an education beyond your enemies. And until you decide what that education looks like and how you're going to distribute it among the people, we will always be in these catch-ups, these little cookholes where they just got us any kind of way. Okay? So let me go back to sharing. I just want to finish reading the absolute zero top part, and then we're going to go back into the black body radiation. Absolute zero is the lowest limit of the thermodynamic temperature scale, a state at which the enthalpy and entropy of a cool ideal gas reach their minimum value. The fundamental particles of nature have minimum vibrational motion. Now, when I did the reading of the black sun, I talked about the nodes, the NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Association, watches what is calling something called a node, which lives on this planet with us. It is a vital part of the planet and a part of our further ecosystem as far as the atmosphere and the stratosphere are concerned. It is often involved when it comes to eclipses, whether they be lunar or solar eclipses of the night and day. If you go to your dictionary, Webster's dictionary, look up the word node, you will see that the nodes vibrate and have minimal vibrational motion to the point where we don't know they're there, but yet there is a corporation called the National Oceanic Atmospheric Association watching these nodes that you can't see. that you don't have the vibration of the destination to be within that knowledge. So let's keep going. So the fundamental particles of nature have minimum vibrational motion. So we're talking about vibrate high, vibrate high. No, you don't understand what vibration is because you shouldn't always be vibrating high. Every celestial being has its own vibrational realm that it has to vibration on so it could be here. And we all aren't vibrating exactly at the same length, at the same language, but we're all vibrating at the same thought. Remember in Godzilla, they had the thing where they could talk to all of the animals, talk to all of the titans. That source where we're all connected, and all she used was all the language of all the beings, the whales, the humans, the Homo sapiens. She used everybody's vibratory language. Okay, so you're going to retaining only quantum mechanical 0 point energy, induced particle motion. The theoretical temperature is determined by extrapolating the ideal gas law. By international agreement, absolute zero is taken as 0 Kelvin, international system of units, which is minus 273.15 degrees on the Celsius scale and equals minus 459.67 degrees on the Fahrenheit scale. So you see how I said that they create the theoretical physics and then they create the instruments to back up. Because on the Kelvin scale, what they say is 0 at Celsius or 0 at Fahrenheit is the Kelvin scale blows it away. So 0 at Kelvin, which means these humans would freeze to death. So you can go into 0 degree causality, which is the Kelvin zero, not the Fahrenheit zero, and definitely not the Celsius zero. We as Almaleks and as indigenous beings, we want to be able to get into Kelvin zero because nothing can survive below Kelvin zero but us. So, the United States customary units or imperial units, the Kelvin and Rankine temperature scales set their 0 points at absolute zero by definition. So, come on, people. That's what I mean. Don't get confused when they try to give you, look at all these extra numbers. Color of a black body from 800 Kelvin to 200, 12,200 Kelvin. Range of colors approximates the range of colors of stars of different temperatures as seen or photographed in the night sky. Okay, let's keep going. We got a little under an hour left. Conversely, all normal matter absorbs electromagnetic radiation to some degree. An object that absorbs all radiation falling on it at all wavelengths is called a black body. When a black body is at a uniform temperature, its emissions has a characteristic frequency distribution that depends on the temperature. Its emission is called black body radiation. So this is a Kelvin scale. You see that? They can see us at 1,000 degrees. We are red. We are red. And they shouldn't be able to see us. And that doesn't mean we aren't red, but that is the spectrum. If you're going to use a color spectrum, that would be it. Copper, red. The concept of the black body is an idealization, as perfect black bodies do not exist in nature. However, graphite and lamp black with emissivities greater than 0.95 are good approximations to black material. Experimentally, black body radiation may be established best as the ultimate stable, steady state equilibrium radiation in a cavity in a rigid body at a uniform temperature that is entirely opaque and is only partly reflective. A closed box with walls of graphite at a constant temperature with a small hole on one side produces a good approximation to ideal black body radiation emanating from the opening. So last time I talked about when your volcano goes off, we have what's called a soft spot when we're born baby. You put your hand up here right now and feel the temperature. Hello? Could you put your hand up here real quick? You feel the temperature compared to the rest of your body coming out of there? So that means you have a volcano that is consistently erupting. And when your volcano erupts, what happens after it destroys everything around it? You have fresh, new growth that you don't have to plant. Okay, so let's keep going. Black body radiation has the unique, absolutely stable distribution of radiative intensity that can persist in thermodynamic equilibrium in a cavity. An equilibrium for each frequency, the intensity of radiation, which is emitted and reflected from a body relative to other frequencies. I mean, all of us at some point have some kind of frequency where we're all connected to it. Those of us who are indigenous, have a Genesis frequency. Humans have a human frequency, which they're all connected. Okay. For a black body, there is no reflected radiation, and so the spectral radiance is entirely due to the emission. So you don't see me because of the light that's falling on me. You see me because of the light being emitted from me. And I don't know if you could understand that. So let's go back for a second. In equilibrium for each frequency, the intensity of radiation which is emitted and reflected from a body relative to other frequencies, that is, the net amount of radiation leaving its surface, called the spectral radiance. So that's why we are called radiant beings, is determined solely by the equilibrium temperature and does not depend upon the shape, material, or structure of the body, which is a lie. Which is a lie. The material and the structure, all of this comes into play. Go to Mentellect. He has a great video or a great why put energy into shapes. Mentellect. He thinks outside the box. He had a great one called, if you go to YouTube, why put energy into shapes, into form. Okay? So that's a lie. They're going to tell you it does not depend upon the shape, material, or structure of the body. That's a lie, because some of these people get killed just based on whatever. So that's a lie. Don't listen to that. For a black body, a perfect absorber, there is no reflected radiation. And so the spectral radiance is entirely due to the emission. So I don't reflect the sun, I emit what you see. I'm not a reflection of the sun. I'm emitting the same energy as the sun. That's why I did they not like us. Soul to soul. The sun is a soul. When you look it up in your Webster's dictionary, the sun is described as a soul. Our people are the only ones described as having a what? A soul. So therefore you work in connectivity with your soul, the sun. And that means when the radiation of the sun, whether they be C flares, M flares, or X flares, okay, you're not going to radiate it back out like a solar panel. you're going to absorb it. You don't radiate it back out like a mirror. You absorb it and emit it, and that's how they can see us because we're emitting that. But we have the ability under the power of black body radiation and Planck units to control what we emit. We just haven't been taught how to control what we emit. So let's keep going. You don't believe that they will lie to you because they want you to accept um, inanimate objects that they're going to try to put melanin, melatonin, and stuff like that into and tell you, oh, this is no, no, it does matter. Black body radiation becomes visible glow of light in the temperature if the temperature of the object is high enough. So they taught us to emit our temperature at a certain velocity rate. Okay. The Draper point is the temperature at which all solids glow a dim red, about 798 Kelvin. At 1000 Kelvin, a small opening in the wall of a large uniformly heated opaque walled cavity, such as an oven viewed from the outside, looks red. At 6000 Kelvin. It looks white. No matter how the oven is constructed or of what material, as long as it is built so that almost all light entering is absorbed by its walls, it will contain a good approximation to black body radiation. The spectrum and therefore color of the light that comes out will be a function of the cavity temperature alone. A graph of the spectral radiation intensity plotted versus frequency or wavelength is called black body curve. Different curves are attained by varying the temperatures. When the body is black, the absorption is obvious. The amount of light absorbed is all the light that hits the surface. For a black body much bigger than the wavelength, the light energy absorbed at any wavelength at Einstein per unit time is strictly proportional to the black body curve. This means that the black body curve is the amount of light energy emitted by a black body, which justify the name. So you're being called black because you don't know how to control the output. We're all sluts. If you can be seen, basically you're a visual slut. You're aiding in. That's the best way I could put it to you. We don't know how to control how much radiation we put out. Because if we could control the radiation that we put out, we wouldn't have the diverse effect of what you call chill or being cold. We could drop our Kelvin temp down to even as low as what they would want HARP to be, to make us cold, to freeze us to so-called death. Okay? When the black body is small, so that its size is comparable to the wavelength of light, the absorption is modified. Because a small object is not an efficient absorber of light of long wavelength, but the principle of strict equality of emission and absorption is always upheld in a condition of thermodynamic equilibrium. And in order for that to be true, that means that the baby that we hold on our breast is really as big as us, but because of the programming that we have, we see a small little baby. So that's not possible. And I don't believe in holographic living or any of that things. Like I say, men who try to teach women that this is a holographic realm, this is nothing you're experiencing here is real, push out a 9 pound baby like I did and tell me the same shit. Okay, because I have nobody to trust. I have no trust in anybody that's going to push knowledge of a holographic experience, especially from someone that can't push out no damn baby. And you tell me this is a holographic experience, okay? So, in the laboratory, black body radiation is approximated by the radiation from a small hole in a large cavity, a hole wrong, and an entirely opaque body that is only partly reflective, that is maintained at a constant temperature. This technique leads to the alternative term cavity radiation, which means you have a program where you believe that your internal body can only temperature can only go so high and so low, when in reality our body can drop well below Fahrenheit and Celsius without us dying or any negative aspects. So we have to get out of that. Under Kelvin, we can go high high and low low without death. Any light entering the hole will have to reflect off the walls of the cavity multiple times before it escaped, in which process it is nearly certain to be absorbed. Absorption occurs regardless of the wavelength of the radiation entering, as long as it is small compared to the hole. The hole then is a close approximation of a theoretical black body, and if the cavity is heated, the spectrum of the hole's radiation, that is, the amount of light emitted from the hole at each wavelength, will be continuous and will depend only on the temperature. So, like I said, you had that soft spot up here, and now they're talking about the light emitted from the hole. So not only is that an electrical current, now they're going to emit that it's a light current also, which means I'm emitting the spectrum in which you can see me. Because if I had better control of it, I could have the ability where you couldn't see me. But because I do not know how to control my body internal temperature, because the educational programming under theoretical physics, I'm still working on that. Okay. Okay. The hole then is a close approximation of a theoretical black body, and if the cavity is heated, the spectrum of the hole's radiation, parentheses, that is the amount of light emitted from the hole at each wavelength, parentheses, will be continuous and will depend only on the temperature and the fact that the walls are opaque and at least partly absorptive, but not on the particular material of which they are built, nor on the material on the cavity. Okay, so what they're saying is that because they know they were able to successfully fool our black bodies into believing we could only run at these temps or such. Can I have a bit of uh, that they could control whatever material that they create to have this happen? Mm, I thought this was a straight pipe sprite girl here. Oh, torture me with that.
No regular. Sorry.
They ain't had no regular nothing, did they?
Shit.
Okay. So now they admitted that there's light involved, heat. So what else would be involved? Because you need the eyes to see what's going on, right? The radiance or observed intensity is not a function of direction. Therefore, a black body is a perfect Lambertian radiator. Actually, I don't know what a Lambertian radiator is, and I don't care, but I know that it is a perpetual harmonic oscillator. Real objects never behave as full ideal black body, as full ideal black bodies, and instead the emitted radiation at a given frequency is a fraction of what the ideal emission would be. The emissivity of a material specifies how well a real body radiates energy as compared with the black body. This emissivity depends on factors such as temperature, emission angle, and wavelength. However, it is typical in engineering to assume that a surface's spectral emissivity and absorptivity do not depend on wavelength at all, so that the emissivity is a constant. This is known as the gray body assumption. So everything is a wavelength. Vibrations run on a wavelength, currents run on a wavelength, solar flares run on a wavelength, what you hear run on a wavelength, your audio runs on a wavelength. These people say anything, so be careful. With non-black services, the deviation from ideal black body behavior are determined by both the surface structure, such as roughness or granularity, and the chemical composition. Organic is the chemical composition of the organ. Understand, organic is the chemical composition of the organ. On a per wavelength basis, real objects in states of local thermodynamic equilibrium still flow, Kirchhoff's law, emissivity equals absorptivity, so that an object that does not absorb all incident light will also emit less radiation than an ideal black body. The incomplete absorption can be due to some of the incident light being transmitted through the body or to some of it being reflected at the surface of the body, which means you have to be careful of your clothes and jewelry if you don't want your light to be reflected back. Um, An almost perfect black body spectrum is exhibited by the cosmic microwave background radiation. Hawking radiation is the hypothetical, more theories, black body radiation emitted by black holes at a temperature that depends on the mass, charge, and the spin of the hole. If this prediction is correct, Black holes will very gradually shrink and evaporate over time as they lose mass by the emission of photons and other particles. Give me just a second. I want to come out of here for a second. Pull it down some more. In astronomy, objects such as stars are frequently regarded as black bodies. Though this is often a poor approximation, an almost perfect black body spectrum is exhibited by the cosmic microwave background radiation. Hawking radiation is the hypothetical black body radiation emitted by black holes. At a temperature that depends on the mass, charge, and spin of the hole, if this prediction is correct, black holes will very gradually shrink and evaporate over time as they lose mass by the emission of photons and other particles. A black body radiates energy at all frequencies, but its intensity rapidly tends to zero at high frequencies, short wavelengths. For example, a black body at room temperature 300 Kelvin with 1 square meter of surface area will emit a photon in the visible range of 390 to 750 nm at the average rate of 1 photon every 41 seconds, meaning that for most practical purposes, such as a black body does not emit in the visible range. The study of the laws of black bodies and the failure of classical physics to describe them helped establish the foundation of quantum mechanics. Their theoretical physics was a failure, the failure of classical theoretical physics to describe black body and Planck units failed. So they had to come up with what? Quantum mechanics. Further explanation. According to the classical theory of radiation, of each Fourier mode of the equilibrium radiation in an otherwise empty cavity with perfect reflective walls is considered as a degree of freedom capable of exchanging energy. Then, according to the equipartition theorem of classical physics, there would be an equal amount of energy in each mode. Since there are an infinite number of modes, this would imply infinite heat capacity, as well as a non-physical spectrum of emitted radiation that grows without bound with increasing frequency and a problem known as ultraviolet catastrophe. So, this about to fuck y'all up. So, the theory of radiation of each Fourier mode, let's go back, in each otherwise empty cavity with perfect reflective walls. So I'm about to come out of here because we about to go do the empty cavity so you can understand what I'm talking about. So, yep, let's stop sharing for a minute because I need y'all to see what empty cavity means. Let's go back to education. Y'all know I ain't playing with y'all. This is straight up education. Your education under medical science says this body is full of organs. Your body has organs. Okay? And each organ within your body does something, right? But that's the humans' version of your black body. The truth is, this body is empty. I'm not saying it's holographic. I'm not saying that. This is real. Like I said, I don't trust anybody that wants to tell me a 9-pound baby with stitches in my is a holographic experience. Save that for those who want to live in La La Land. I'm saying to you, as the indigenous Amalek people, your body is empty. This is the empty vessel. It only feels what you have been programmed educationally to believe it needs. See, they tell you need a heart. They tell you need lungs. They tell you need this and that. But remember, I did the live and I said, why do children always believe that they can fly? Because they know to question the program that they've been given that says only birds can fly. So this empty vessel, your black body radiation, has the ability to transform into whatever we need. And that's what I mean by empty vessel. I don't mean it's holographic in there. No, I'm saying that your ability to bend the elements, the nutrients of the realm are all within this cavity. And the cavity is empty because you haven't told it what you want it to do. Now, the cavity looks full based on the medical education, the medical science education you've been given that says this is your body and this is how your organ work and blah, 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 blah. Okay? But once you begin to come out of that, you begin to realize your body is doing things it has never done before. And sometimes we think, oh, I'm just getting older. This is what happens with age. No, your body is talking to you and saying things you have not been listening. You cannot hear it under the medical science education, which says this is your body. You can't hear any of this I'm talking about until you come out of the houses. This education is outside, and it's not called plank or black body. The lion is outside. He don't know he a lion. That's what you fucking call him. So, this body is real. I live in reality, okay? And my reality says that whatever the body requires, I can call it up because it's in here. But it's not this filled vessel that they want you to believe it is. Because if you're already filled, you're going to believe when it's time for you to transform your form out of form, through form, and back into form, that you're going to harm what's already here and you can't harm it. Only your lack of attitude when you put your coordinates into place. Remember that. You gotta have an attitude. You gotta be grateful, but you gotta be educated too. Okay. And like I said, we are not educated. We have their education. So when you put your education into place and you really begin to understand that this is magnitude, gratitude, longitude, altitude, latitude, solitude, multitude, attitude, aptitude, amplitude, fortitude, okay? We got work to do. This takes time. This is not overnight idealization. Yep, this takes time. So your body is empty, but it's also full. Okay? But I just wanted to give you a sample of what it means so that we can stop falling into the traps that say, listening to what they say. Okay. Listening to what these people are trying to teach us instead of learning from our own. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick little breather. I didn't really eat. Like, subscribe, and share if you like what you're hearing and learning today. So yeah, this is indigenous education. This is nothing fancy. I hope you've all been reading your own plank units and black body radiation. Any word, and you know how I am, not just the blue words. Any word you don't understand, please look it up. And learn for yourself. Don't just believe me. Look this stuff up for yourself. And some of this won't ever be found in books because you got to experience it. I had to experience what I'm talking about so I could teach it. A lot of us don't have the experience of what we're talking about, but we're trying to teach it. And that's the thing. A lot of you become disappointed with the YouTubers who have this knowledge, but listen, some people are just the word. That don't mean that they have the fortitude to go out here and really do this stuff. Sometimes a messenger is just that, just a messenger. Let these people be the messenger they are, and leave the real life living to the people that's gonna get out here and do it. But if you feel like you got to call out a messenger for being false, do that. Definitely do that. But leave these people alone. If you like what you hearing from them, keep going back to them, but don't harass them. Y'all know these people are just messengers. They have no solution for you. They're just here to deliver the message that they see you don't see. That's it. How'd you bring a snack with me today? I'll be running out. I hope my tent. So while I'm taking a quick break, mhm. Does anybody have any questions? Mm. Um, I can't think of too many other topics I wanted to do today. That's a word we need to do though. I'm gonna put that in my homeschool page on Facebook. Another thing for these black body weight, y'all need to learn the difference between organ people and organic people. I am currently watching the mental breakdown of children by indigenous women that they have with mimickers, um, humans. I'm seeing it bad in our community, in melanated community. The children who have parents as dope fiends, they're mentally breaking down. They're not doing well. And I must say, I was a part of that problem. So as the Bible said, I can see the sins through your children. And when your children aren't doing good, you can tell that's the sin you committed. So, we got to do it a whole lot better. And that's why I said my children can't be my legacy. The knowledge that I'm providing them so that they can move on, if they can break the chains of the system, that's the legacy. Nothing else. And me being able to stay out the system, get out, and successfully stay out. I thought I had a water. Give me a couple of more minutes and I'm gonna get back into it. Further explanation. According to the classical theory of radiation, if each Fourier mode of the equilibrium radiation in any otherwise empty cavity with perfectly reflective walls is considered as a degree of freedom capable of exchanging energy, then, according to the equipartition theorem of classical physics, there would be an equal amount of energy in each mode. Since there are infinite number of modes, this would imply infinite heat capacity, as well as a non-physical spectrum of emitted radiation that grows without bond with increasing frequency, a problem known as the ultraviolet catastrophe. So you can grow without bounds. Those people are sometimes seen as gods. A volcano erupts with no bounds. Tornadoes fly through with no bounds. They have no boundaries. Typhoons have no boundaries. Tsunamis have no boundaries. Okay? Now, they say it's ultraviolet catastrophe, but at the same time, they want to call that, um, what are they calling this stuff? Anyway, in the longer wavelengths, this deviation is not so noticeable as HV and NVH are very small. In the shorter wavelengths of the ultraviolet range, however, classical theory predicts the energy emitted tends to infinite tends to infinity, hence the ultraviolet catastrophe. The theory even predicted that all bodies would emit most of their energy in the ultraviolet range, clearly contradicted by the experimental data, which showed a different peak wavelength at different temperatures. So let's look up the word catastrophe because they're using it rather loosely, even though it's not a blue word. And they'll try to say, "Well, use it within the fuck that." Ain't no using. Don't think about. Pick up your dictionary and look it up. So it's a catastrophe for this to happen. So if you know this, catastrophe. Noun, Greek, catastrophe. The final event of the dramatic action, especially of a tragedy. A momentous tragic event ranging from extreme misfortune to utter overthrow or ruin. A violent and sudden change in a feature of the earth. Utter failure. So, let's read this again. According to the classical theory of radiation, remember, you have different forms of radiation, but the worst radiation is gamma radiation because gamma radiation is the toxic waste of using nuclear fusion. Of each Fourier mode, what's the Fourier mode? Let's get into it. Oh, shoot, I gotta come out of here. Sorry, y'all. A Fourier series of an expansion of a periodic function into a sum of trigonometric functions. The Fourier series is an example of a trigonometric series, but not all trigonometric series are Fourier series. By expressing a function as a sum of sines, which is part of a sine wave, and cosines, many problems involving the function, how to control the black body radiation. The theory of radiation of each Fourier mode of the equilibrium radiation in an otherwise empty cavity with perfectly reflective walls. So I'm not saying your body is empty. I'm saying all the things that they claim is going on in the body is not. Because the Homo sapien body is different from the human body. It is considered as a degree of freedom capable of exchanging energy, which means not only do you have the power of electrical or thermal energy, you have the power of plasma energy. You have the power of fusion energy without all the chemicals that they need to put it together to work. Okay? Then, according to the equilibrium theorem of classical physics, there would be an equal amount of energy in each mode. So, whatever mode you choose to operate in, you will have an equal amount of energy. And now you're working at equilibrium. Now you have equilibrium. Your energy is all when they say chakras, your chakras are blocked. Yes, because you've received theoretical physics education, a theory on how you work. But you won't go outside of the houses to find out how you work. The houses make you lazy. The houses are a tribute to the. There are all the houses here are carcinogenic, from the refrigerator to the stoves to everything. And until you go outside and sleep, you will not know what kind of power your body has. Until you go outside and sleep in nature, you won't know what element your body flows to. Like, are you a water? Not based on your sign, based on the connection you have physically with your realm. So once you start sleeping outside, you will know if your body likes water, if your body prefers earth, if your body prefers the sun, if your body prefers heat or cold. You don't know that sleeping in a house. So that's why when I did the last Bible study, I was like, all the houses, the whole realm is a tribute to Satan's power. That's why when he offered Jesus this realm, he said, I will give you everything. He ain't just mean the churches and the government buildings. He meant every house and every home to rule. So until the people, our people, Amalek, the indigenous people, come out of these structures, so that because you can't learn yourself in the structure. I don't care what nobody say. All of if you don't go out in nature, which is your true inheritance, which is the realm, the people that cannot go out into nature are just a messenger. Leave them alone. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Leave the messenger alone. That's not what they're here for. It's up to you. I go out and do what I'm talking about I'm going to do. I go out and live outside. I go out and live so I can adjust my body to the knowledge of the realm. So let's keep going. In the longer wavelengths, this deviation is not noticeable. In the shorter wavelengths of the ultraviolet range, however, classical theory predicts the energy emitted tends to infinity, hence the ultraviolet catastrophe. So who is the catastrophe for? Because it says violent and sudden change in the feature of the earth. Okay? The theory even predicted that all bodies would emit most of their energy in the ultraviolet range, clearly contradicted by the experimental data which showed a different peak wavelength at different temperatures. Instead, in the quantum treatment of this problem, the numbers of the energy modes are quantized, attenuating the spectrum at high frequency in agreement with experimental observation and resolving the catastrophe. The modes that had more energy than the thermal energy of the substance itself were not considered. And because of quantized modes having infinitesimally little energy were excluded. So you have to understand a lot of this is the knowledge of us backed up by the experiments they've been doing on us. So I've been here for an hour 45 minutes. I didn't want to be too long. I'm going to close out with gratitude. I'm glad you all could come. Uh, I, I know you really enjoyed this. I tried to go a little bit deeper every time. Like, subscribe, and share for this information to go out. As I said, I'm an Indigenous teacher. I am not a content creator, which is why most people don't like messing with me. I'm here to give you the knowledge about who you are as the indigenous celestial Almalek beings, the true inheritors of this realm. And as always, I know my knowledge is worth more than my weight in gold. Hit that Cash App button. But truly, truly, come in and learn this stuff. Y'all gotta learn it. Hit my Cash App, like, subscribe, and share. The name of my school is Universal Mind School of Evolution. You can find it on Facebook. I will try to hit it up soon, but because I'm in a tent, I'm offline. If I'm not in certain areas or spaces where I can't, and that's another part, we got to detox. So when I'm in my tent, I'm doing something. I'm crocheting. I'm learning how to knit. I'm sewing clothes. I'm making things. So when you don't have devices per se, which is another reason why I love being offline, my creativity picks up. Y'all can keep doing it how you want to. I'm not judging you. I've been there. But I know I want something different now. So, like I said, I know this was very educational and informative for you all. Enjoy and go study, because you know when I come back, I got more headbanging. I'm going to crack this knowledge open for you. And that's why I said you have to read it again and again and again. The first time I read this shit, I was like, what the fuck is this? And then when I started reading with my dictionary and my Bible, I was like, oh. See, it's all interlapping. That's why I said we the pattern masters. You got to learn how to read the patterns. So, like, subscribe, and share. Hit that Cash App, SalimaEllis. My knowledge is worth more than my weight in gold. You want the truth of the realm? I got the truth for you. I don't have nothing else but the truth for you, baby. So, peace, love, and salutations. Keep looking out for yourself. Keep learning yourself. Because as we keep going into black body radiation, y'all gonna learn about these temples y'all keep calling bodies and learn what the real reaping is. The temple is ready to break the contract with the mind and soul. These temples that y'all been abusing sexually, pornographically, murderously, physically, are ready to break the contract with the mind and soul. Because y'all been putting all the blame on the body. The body is corrupt, but the body ain't corrupt. The mind is corrupt. The soul is corrupt. And the pure temple is ready to break the contract with us. You better get your shit together. This is why I'm doing these readings. Y'all don't understand what's going on. The war is not physical out there like that, what you think it is. Yeah, it's going to hurt not to have all the luxury, comfort, and convenience that Satan provides us. But if you don't have this, you don't have nothing. What you're going to be? Air, wind, fire? You barely understand that now. Peace and love.